So I just finished binge watching the show called H2O Just Add Water, spanning for 3 seasons or a grand total of 78 episodes. This is my absolute favorite show. Well, second favorite show. Don't get me wrong, it's an absolute clusterfuck of plot conveniency, weird acting, relationships that make the characters' choices very, very confusing, contradiction, a weird plot, and characters who disappear for multiple episodes and kind of just pop back up. We'll talk more about that later, including one character that suffers from this 90% of the time. Either way, let's start talking about this thing, H2O Just Add Water. Our characters for this first season are Cleo, Emma, Ricky, Zane, Kim, who is Cleo's sister, Mr. Satori. I don't think we ever hear his name. I looked it up. Turns out it's Dawn Satori. Mrs. Satori, again, I don't think we know her name. Bev Satori. Elliot, who is Emma's brother. Lisa and Neil, who are Emma's parents. I don't think we learned their last name. Looked it up, turns out it's Gilbert. Miriam, who no one really cares about. Nate, who's basically a glorified hype man. Miss Chatham, Byron, and finally, Lewis, who is by far the best character and is neglected literally the whole show. Just like all brilliant pieces of art, our show starts off by the main character getting pranked, which leaves her drifting out to sea on a boat with no spark plug, when suddenly Vicky jumps on with none other than the spark plug. They start the boat and speed off, picking up Emma on the way and taking that small-ass boat out to sea. After they run out of gas, they take refuge on Mako Island. Luckily, Emma has a phone, but there's no service, so they go to higher ground to try and get a signal. After hiking a bit, they come to an obstacle. They are forced to jump a small-ass gap. All is well until Cleo tries slipping and falling. Emma follows, trying to somehow save her. Then Ricky jumps down too, for some reason. Now that they are all down there, they explore, finding the moon pool, which is very, very important. Emma, who is a swimmer, swims out through the exit, coming back. Honestly, I don't know what the passage of time was exactly, but it seems like they were there for a while. Emma eventually comes back, telling them that it is in fact an exit, but Cleo can't swim. They eventually convince her, and they all get in the pool to make their escape. But apparently it's night, so did Emma take hours to swim back? Anyway, they get in, and with the power of the full moon, they are transformed into mermaids, which they each respectively figure out after they are picked up by the sea police. Soon figuring out that Cleo can control water and make it, well, Emma can make things freeze, but Ricky has no powers. Wait, no, she can make bubbles. Cleo gets invited to this pool party, which she is dead set on going to. She ends up going and shows up with, well, padding. She does this because if a drop of water touches them, they turn into mermaids. She gets pushed into the pool, but luckily Lewis shows up, finding out her secret and helping them make a quick escape. They save some turtles, then come to the problem that there are so many ways to get water on them. Which begs the question, how the hell do they wash their hands? We do see Cleo periodically taking baths, just like chilling with her tail. So they're staying clean, I guess? They then decide not to let the big bad water scare them. Emma has a party, which goes well, I guess. Kim gets a hold of Cleo's diary that has every single detail of being a mermaid. Why? Just like, why would you write it down? Anyway, she gets convinced that the big bad mermaids are out to take over the world and tries to expose them, failing and looking like the stupid child she is. I seriously hate her. Elliot develops a crush on Ricky after Ricky saves his life. Ricky crushes his heart, but everything ends up okay in the end. They soon find out about the full moon effect via Miss Chatham, a random old lady with a cloak of plot conveniency. Like Zane, she pops up and disappears for episodes on end, but she also appears and disappears with no explanation as to how she does it. I don't know. Turns out she used to be a mermaid, but gave it up. Is this ever explained? Anyways, for some reason, when the full moon rises, if they see it, they're under some weird spell, which Lewis tries to help them with. Emma starts being honest for some reason after she sees the moon's reflection in a bowl of punch. The first full moon really made no sense. Remember this, though, it is important. Dr. Denman comes to town. She's a marine biologist who wants to count fish and shit, I guess. Lewis gets an internship with her and accidentally leaves a sample of one of the girl's toenails, which Denman tests and tries to write a paper on with the name Just Add Water. Ha! That's the name of the show! Luckily, Lewis deletes her paper and gets back the sample, though this is not the last time we'll see her. Cleo's fish dies. Ricky gets tricked into selling rare fish to some shady guy for money. They take down his illegal fish ring, and Ricky gets Cleo a new fish. They make fun of Zane and turn it into a film. Emma trains Byron for a swimming competition and ends up winning somehow. Emma and Byron kiss, and this relationship is possibly the most confusing one of the whole series. It's basically non-existent unless, dun dun dun, plot conveniency. Then just like that, it's another full moon, and this time it's Cleo who gets affected, becoming a siren, leading all the boys to her house, putting them under a spell. Sadly, the full moon wears off, and Cleo is back to not being able to sing. Oh yeah, Miss Chatham appeared again and told them to beware of the full moon. We learn a little bit about Miss Chatham in this action-packed episode with an amazing boat escape when someone tries to take Miss Chatham's boat away. On her way out, she smacks into Zane's Sea-Doo, causing him to take his boat and chase after her. She collapses just in time for Lewis and Emma to show up and take her for help. But the boat explodes. Well, small explosion, which starts sinking the boat. Emma goes to save Zane, who is trapped. She uses her tail to slam the door open just enough for Zane to swim out, but not before he sees her tail, which starts an obsession with, you guessed it, mermaids. Well, first it's a sea monster, then it's mermaids later. Miss Chatham goes to an elderly home, which she isn't at later. Like I said, she literally appears and disappears. Cleo has a birthday party, Emma has a job, and is left to be manager alone, hiring Ricky, and Ricky being Ricky doesn't like being told what to do. She quits the job, but Emma freezes Miriam, who is trying to prank Emma by turning off the freezer. They have to save Miriam, with Ricky slowly unfreezing her, and Cleo,
Cleo, you're going to use your power, and you're going to get the bodily fluids circulating again.
Cleo has a job at the marine park, and everyone starts to think Cleo and Zane are dating when Cleo gives them access to the marine park's library. Turns out that they are simply trying to help a lovesick dolphin. Rainstorm hits just before they're about to leave for an exam, and they decide to fake being sick, using all of their powers to do it. But while doing so, they make it seem like they have an unknown disease that gets the Center for Disease Control called on them. They admit that they lied, and the only one that was actually sick was Elliot. The full moon rises again, dialing Ricky's powers to an off-the-charts scale. She starts to burn everything she touches, leading her to Mako Island, where Zane and her kiss, which leaves him a little crisp. They take her to the moon pool, which stabilizes her. Cleo's hurricane of a cousin comes to visit, framing Kim for stealing the pelican to go bodyboarding. Lewis wins a fishing competition with some mermaid help. Zane continues to hunt for a sea monster, seeing Emma swimming out of Miss Chatham's sunken boat as she was taking a photo of Miss Chatham and her mermaid friends out of the boat so Zane wouldn't find it. We don't really get an explanation of where Zane is a lot of the time. He disappears for many episodes and just shows back up when it's convenient for the plot. Ricky tells Zane that she will date him provided that he stops talking about mermaids. Emma and Cleo suspect Zane and Ricky, and that's a whole thing. Ricky wants to tell Zane their secret, but Miss Chatham tells them about a similar experience she had, and the secret is safe. They find a locket in a pawn shop identical to the one they found in the bottom of the moon pool. Miriam buys the locket, and that's a whole thing. They get it back, and Miss Chatham gives them the lockets that apparently disappear when they're in mermaid form. There's a dance, and love is in the air. Lewis doesn't ask Cleo, so she goes with Nate. Byron thinks Emma isn't interested, so he goes with Miriam, and Ricky and Zane go together. Lewis has created a spray-on thing that makes them waterproof, but something goes wrong and they turn into tomatoes. They go for a swim to wash it off. Lewis tells them that Byron is still waiting there for Emma, and Zane's there as well. After both of them have left, Cleo and Lewis kiss, and yay, they're together now. Denman returns, supposedly to look at fish and shit. She replaces cameras around Mako, capturing photos of Ricky, Emma, and Cleo. Full of greed, Dr. Denman captures the girls to study them. Zane, having given her a tip to keep looking at Mako for mermaids, finds out that they're mermaids and switches sides, freeing Lewis, who Denman was holding prisoner, and working together, they free them, and then meet up with Miss Chatham, who they said they couldn't find for some reason, even though they said she was going to the elderly home. She tells them that the only option is to rid themselves of their powers, using the power of the lunar eclipse. Going to Mako one last time, Dr. Denman plans to trap them again. This time, the girls use their powers to protect themselves, leaving only Denman left. They jump into the water as the eclipse shows overhead, and just like that, they aren't mermaids anymore. But wait, do you hear that? That sounds like plot conveniency. Turns out the lunar eclipse only takes their powers away for 12 hours. They're still mermaids, because that makes sense. And just like that, that's the first season of H2O, Just Add Water. Oh yeah, Ricky and Zane break up because she says the relationship isn't going anywhere. Yeah, I don't really understand it. Byron kind of disappears after that, so does Miriam and her backup friend along with Miss Chatham, with no explanation for where they went. Even with all this weirdness, I still love it and it's a fun thing to watch when you're bored. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. It makes me happy and it's the closest thing we have to world peace. This is my first scripted video and the first video that I've ever done like this, so tell me how I did in the comments below. If you want to check out the full show, it's on Netflix, along with its spin-off, Mako Mermaids. Don't worry, it's just as much of a clusterfuck, so it's just as much fun.